It's an easy call for me. My father flew B-52s and did a career in the Air Force, retired after 23 years. My brother's active duty Air Force is all I've ever wanted to do was fly airplanes, period.
For me, it was because I didn't have the funds to go to school. So I did the next best thing and decided to join the military.
I joined because my JROTC instructor was the one that said, hey, I think you should think about going to the academy. I was like, what is the academy, you know? And then he told me it was free, and I was like, sounds like a good idea. So I did that, and it worked out well. The academy was a great experience.
I share the same story as Colonel Joseph. I came in the Air Force as a young airman, and I did that after going to college one year and realizing that I could not afford my college tuition payment. And so the next best thing for me was to serve our country and be able to accomplish my goal, which was ultimately to get my engineering degree.
So I think internally, you know, you always walk in a room and, you know, it is kind of male dominant, and it's something that probably rolls to the back of your head. But at the end of the day, we are where we are because we brought skills to the table, we showed our capabilities, and it's those things that got us to the table, and it's those things that will continue to allow us to succeed.
It's important for individuals to realize, especially minority officers, to realize that yes, when you come into the Air Force, you will be the unicorn. So therefore, you should be the subject matter expert if you expect to compete and rise to the top. Okay? So without even thinking and without even knowing that, it was abnormal for me to always be the only person of color in the room, and the only person, or the only female in the room, and the only person of color and female in the room.
Being the first is a challenge. There are not many black aviators on space. On the B-1 side, I think there's 4 of us. So there was a significant amount of pressure because if I'm absent to a meeting, people know. Because I'm the only guy in the room that looks like me. And if I get identified a little bit because of that.
I've been fortunate enough to not have any overt racial issues happen to me, so that's good. The Air Force is getting it right. But at the same time, it can be just a little bit of a stigma there associated with being a commander and being the only one.
I haven't experienced a whole lot of overt stuff in my career. As far as being a leader and having pressures applied to me, I've never seen that from my superiors or from peers. As I have matured in the Air Force, and it's only until I made colonel, what was noticed was the expectation that I would have made it to that point. But I didn't realize that I was being tracked for that.
I share the sentiment that the pressure is definitely internal. I grew up with a background that was very diverse, and so when I walk into the room as an Air Force officer and as an Air Force engineer, and I'm always the minority, no matter what the form or what the setting, I'm always the minority. So to me, it is very noticeable. To my peers, I have not overtly, like the boss said, experienced anything like that. But I do share the pressure that I want to get it right. So whatever it is that I'm working on, I got to get it right because I represent much more than just myself. I represent all those people ahead of me that didn't have the opportunity to sit where I sit as a commander, as an Air Force officer, and as a civil engineer. And so they went through struggles that basically made them eliminated, period, based off of their gender, based off the color of their skin or their ethnicity. And so because I have the opportunity to be where I am, I feel that internal pressure that says, I better get it right.
And those smart airmen, they have to come up with very innovative ways on how to solve some very complex issues. And we do it every day, so making sure they're taken care of at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, that's probably one of the most rewarding pieces of doing this job.
So you'll hear a common theme, and it is taking care of the airmen. And the reason why is because it's all about feel. and what you feel deep down inside. Most people join the Air Force or join the military for one reason. They don't stay for that same reason. And it's because of a feel of camaraderie that you gain as you go along.
As a commander, you really get to take care of people. When I evaluate someone or write an OPR, it stays with them for life. And that's so much more rewarding than I ever thought it would be.